What's up? So, in today's video, I'm gonna have that rant that I mentioned earlier. So, just a couple things to give a heads up about. There is quite a bit of profanity, and I'm also speaking from a slightly narrow perspective, so I may have said some things that are somewhat incorrect, so please correct me if I'm like massively wrong about anything. And also, I've been tutoring a data science student for about 9 months now, and I do mention her name quite a few times. So I'm not like disclosing any like private information about her, but yeah, her name's Asha. I'm gonna be saying her name several times. And anyway, without further ado, let's just get into it and enjoy some raw, unedited, unfiltered speech coming out of my mouth. Okay, so I am on my journey of helping Asha become a data analyst or whatever you call it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my updates and my findings because I recently actually interviewed her and got kind of to the bottom of things with her motivation and whatnot. And a lot of what I assumed about her was true. A lot about what I assumed about her and her motivations was true, and was accurate for the most part. You know, she's trying to become a data analyst. She's not really in it for the money. She wants something that is less repetitive than her current job of what she's doing. And she wants something that is that challenges her and gets her thinking critically and has her learning new things, and she wants to learn new things, and getting a job in the relevant field is just the ultimate challenge that she wants to do. And she has continued when most people would give up. She has drive, and she clearly has persistence. And you know, she may not have the best knowledge, but she has work ethic, and she takes action, and she has persistence. And that is, I'm not like you, obviously you have to have knowledge too, but it goes a lot farther than knowledge. Something I'm really learning is knowledge by itself is useless. Knowledge with, or I would say, action with no knowledge is still better than knowledge with no action. You know, so we can help her get that knowledge though. But the widespread, I'm starting to notice a potential for a widespread problem. And this problem is, you know, this program, this great learning program made by the Malcolm School of Business at University of Texas, Austin, which you'd think would be a really good program because, you know, Malcolm Business School at UTA is one of the top business schools in the country. But yet this program, I mean, excuse my French, but it fucking sucks. Of most of the people in the cohort, or class, whatever you want to call it, I think there's like, 65 of them? Most of them, the vast majority of them, 45 of them, I think she said, about like 70% of them already had jobs in IT. They already worked in IT. So they already had a quote-unquote technical background, as we call it. So, and they were able to upgrade their careers, a lot of them were, to something a little better than what they had before. It uses often a little more analytical. I don't know the details. I just know that a lot of them were able to get quote-unquote better tech gigs, tech jobs than the ones they previously had. Now, the other students that had no technical background, she's honestly faring the best out of all of them. None of them have been able to get jobs. Most of them so basically that means that 30%, aka 20 students, that have no technical background, none of them have been able to get jobs. Half of them gave up and dropped out, which I mean, at that point, that's probably saying more about them than it is about the program that they just gave up and dropped out. But, you know, of the 10 of them that are still with it, that are kept going, none of them have been able to get jobs, and she actually and she's actually the most skilled of them, of all of them. She's the most skilled of them. I mean, granted, we've worked hard together, me and her, and she's actually understanding stuff, and she can actually code, and, you know, she can actually code. She understands statistics. She understands machine learning pretty well. I mean, not like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like she's got it. Sometimes I feel like, lady, where's all this hard work been going? But she kind of, I mean, she has at least a reasonable understanding of you know, machine learning and statistics and programming. At least she's doing all right. Okay, I would say she's doing all right. And it's not like, I don't want to say she's doing bad or anything, but at her age, she's 63, 64. It's hard for her to learn fast. Just naturally is. I mean, it doesn't have to be this way. I'm sure there's ways to work around this, but for her, I'm just saying, for her to be the best, technically the most skilled out of this, you know, demographic or group of people that are taking this program with no prior technical background, the fact that she can code better than them, and she knows this technical stuff, and she's actually more knowledgeable than them, I mean, that really, and that no one's even getting close to getting a job, that really shows how shitty the program is. And I mean, I've seen this program. I've seen the lessons. I've seen the modules when I've gone on the Zoom calls with her. They don't make fucking sense. They teach this shit in a really stupid way. I mean, I really think the program sucks. It does. And, you know, I think there's, you know, I need to do more research. I'm not, by no means am I gonna just cling to this idea and be like, oh my god, this is it, this is the idea, right? I need to do more market research. I need to further validate what I'm already starting to think, and what I'm already, the findings I'm already starting to find in this niche, in this market, is that these programs, and it's not just this program. I mean, if there's tons of these fucking boot camps out here. I shouldn't cuss less, but there's tons of freaking boot camps everywhere. There's no shortage of them. But, you know, and I knew a lot of them were kind of faulty, but, you know, if this is one program that's not able to help people get jobs, like, there's probably like a bunch more programs that aren't helping people get jobs, you know, that people aren't getting jobs, and they're not even fucking learning. That's the thing. This program, Asha started the program, I think, in July. They've been going at it. People in this program have been going at it for almost a year, and they don't even know how to code. They don't even know. So I mean, it's so bad on so many levels. Like, first of all, you've got a boot camp that doesn't even know. You have a boot camp that doesn't even necessarily. The people aren't able to learn the skills. That they teach skills, and they teach concepts, and you know, they teach things that the students aren't able to learn. And the only ones that have been able to learn is people that are either the people that understand it the best are people that have already worked in tech. They already had technical background. These are people that were like IT or software engineers or whatever, trying to get more into the data science side of things, right? So they're trying to get more on the data science side because it often pays better. It's often uses a little more critical thinking. It's a little more quote unquote interesting. a lot of people have worked in software for a couple of years. It's kind of a natural thing to kind of want to become a data scientist or analyst. You know, a lot of the data scientists I've seen or talked to have backgrounds in other IT, like software stuff. So that stuff I understand, like that makes sense. But those people were able to learn, but these other people were not able to learn. And the point of these programs is they're supposed to work for people with no technical background. But if the only people that are able to learn are people with technical background, then that's a problem. Also, the other person that's in the middle of knowing some but not that much and still being fairly novice is Asha, my student, and that's because she's worked extensively with me for basically 2 to even up to 5 hours, sometimes even, I think the most was 6, but yeah, basically has been working extensively with me for 2 to 5 hours a week for a period of 9 months, and she's doing alright. She's doing in between. She's not, maybe doesn't fully grasp it, but at the same time, she's not like a total like person that learned nothing. And that's because, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant. I'm just saying if it weren't for my help, she'd be fucked. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying that. And the thing is, even the other boot camp that actually did a decent job at this whole thing still has a lot of shortcomings, and they're still missing a lot of stuff. So let me talk about that a little bit here. So I did the Flatiron boot camp, which is a better boot camp, but it's still missing a lot of things. So their job placement rate is actually pretty damn good. Definitely better than a lot of colleges. Definitely better than these other boot camps. It's near 100%, and you know that's what their statistics are on paper. And you know, most of my cohort did get relevant jobs in the field. However, even the ones that did, there's a lot of disconnect between the skills that were taught and the skills that were actually needed. The boot camp really overemphasized a lot of high-level, kind of more meta concepts like AI, machine learning, stuff like that, and they really kind of neglected things like SQL, which is a language used to query data, which is basically, you know, and stuff like that, which is basically just how companies deal with their influx of data, and a lot of these other kind of less exciting, less sexy concepts, which ended up actually being far more important and practical in the workforce. Knowing SQL goes a lot farther than knowing AI or knowing, well, machine learning, whatever you want to call it. And you know, there wasn't a whole lot of reality checks throughout the program. They let people kind of just wander off in their own fantasy world. You know, you could have people like that would make a AI that could classify Pokemons. Well, that's great, but that's cool, that's awesome, but no one really cares. You know, that's not, how does that help a business? It doesn't help a business at all. You know, I did a project that was, in retrospect, honestly really stupid. I made this thing that could classify if a blog was written by an AI or a person, which is just, it has no business value. Basically, I don't even need to go into it, but essentially, you know, dumb shit like that, that's like, it's not useful for the business, and no one really cares. And the other complaint I have, and the other thing about it that didn't really make a whole lot of sense and didn't really work out too well, in my opinion, was the disconnect. So this other disconnect. So we had the technical instructors, and you had the career coaching. You know, this boot camp was a bit higher tier, and it was pretty good, and I actually had career coaching services. So the problem was this disconnect. So the technical instructors knew very little about the job market, and they really knew their stuff, and they were able to teach these concepts very well, and everyone in my group learned. Unlike these other boot camps, everyone learned, but they didn't really know much about the job market. And then these other people, the career coaches, they would have all this, they'd motivate you to go out there and look for jobs, and they'd have, they'd have knowledge and advice on how to actually go about actually finding the jobs and stuff, how to actually find the jobs, how to network with people and all that stuff. But they didn't know anything about the technical concepts, and they would leave it on you to figure out, leave it on us, the individual student, to figure out what skills they should learn in all this. So I have a novel solution. I have a novel idea for a solution, which is, why don't you have somebody have it such that set up so that the person that knows about the technical stuff, that teaches the technical concepts, and the people that teach about the career coaching and the career coaches are actually the same fucking person. Because then you would have one person that's on the right page with everything. Right? They would know exactly what you need to work on, exactly what you need to do to get a job, and they'd be able to put the whole picture together out of one person, coming out of one person's mouth, in one session, one call, at one time. Okay, I still don't know how to exactly do this, or how this would be properly, fully implemented, but this is what would be necessary. Something needs to, at first I thought it was going to help people, make older working professionals make career changes. But I think a bigger, more potent problem that I'm finding that my research is taking me to is that I need to actually do something about all these people that are going through these boot camps and not learning stuff. They go through the boot camp. They spend months, hours. They spend all this time, and they spend thousands of dollars, and they do all this work, and they have nothing to show for it, and they have no applicable knowledge, and they're not able to get a job, and they're back doing whatever the fuck they were doing before. So they're not able to. They're basically they're not able to change their lives. And I understand. There's all this talk about enjoy the process, love the process, and all this stuff. And there's a place for that. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone on this planet, I don't think any single human being on planet Earth spends thousands of dollars in all this personal time just to stay the same. I don't think anyone does that. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. And, my students, she's starting to get itchy too. She's like, I've spent all this money, all this time, where's my job? I need to actually, this is taking a really long time. And, I think people should be patient, but at the same time, I think there's some truth to the fact that things need to fucking speed up. And, I need to figure out a way to get people this stuff faster, get people the results they want faster, and teach them the reality and show them the real job market, instead of having them go off in this fucking fantasy land like I did for a period, where they just want to rely on, one day I'll find this magic solution. One day I'll just get this job, and I'm just going to work on this really cool technology, and it's going to get me a job. That's some fantasy world shit. That's not reality. That's kind of like all these people, that's not too far different from all these people getting like really silly liberal arts degrees that are useless. So anyway, that's really been like my thoughts. So this voice recording, I think it's like new recording 7, and the one before that, new recording 6. These are really kind of where the rubber meets the road, where I'm really starting to think about my business and all this. So just to sum this all up, it's ridiculous how much, we need to do something about how much time and money is being spent on things that end up getting people nowhere.